There are moments in pop culture that shake the world, stories so chilling they leave behind more questions than answers. When Whitney Houston was found lifeless in a hotel bathtub in 2012, the world was stunned. But when her daughter, Bobbi Kristina Brown, suffered an eerily similar fate just 3 years later, speculation spiraled out of control. Was it all a tragic coincidence, or was something far more sinister at play? Suddenly, theories about Hollywood secrets, hidden agendas, and manipulative handlers began swirling. Could Bobbi Kristina have known something about her mother's death that put her in danger? And if so, who wanted to keep her silent? Even Bobbi Brown, once part of music's most infamous couple, has hinted at dark forces that may have played a role in both tragedies. Today, we're peeling back the layers of speculation to expose the unsettling details, the eerie parallels, and the conspiracies that refuse to die. But remember, the closer you look, the more disturbing the picture becomes. To understand Bobbi Kristina's fate, we have to go back to Whitney Houston's reign as a global icon. With a voice that defined generations, she became one of the biggest stars in history. But her personal life, especially her relationship with Bobbi Brown, became a relentless storm of addiction, scandals, and emotional turmoil. From a young age, Bobbi Kristina lived in this chaos. Flashing cameras, family feuds, and an upbringing where love and destruction intertwined. While she embraced the spotlight and hinted at her own singing ambitions, the pressure of being Whitney's daughter was crushing. Behind the glitz, trouble was always brewing. As Bobbi Kristina grew up, the cracks in her world deepened. Whitney's substance struggles were headline news, and Bobbi Brown faced accusations of erratic behavior. Their explosive fights and legal battles played out on every major tabloid, leaving Bobbi Kristina caught in the crossfire. Even those close to her noticed changes. She withdrew from friends, grew suspicious of people's motives, and reportedly developed her own destructive coping mechanisms. The more she tried to carve out her own identity, the more she seemed to repeat the tragic patterns of her parents. Then came Nick Gordon, a figure who would change everything, for better or worse. At first, Nick Gordon appeared to be Bobbi Kristina's closest confidant. Taken in by Whitney at a young age, he was treated like family, but the lines blurred. Their relationship went from sibling-like to something much more complicated. After Whitney's passing, Bobbi Kristina clung to Nick like a lifeline, claiming he was the only one who truly understood her. But family members saw warning signs: Nick's influence over her life, their sudden marriage announcement, and their increasing isolation from loved ones. Behind closed doors, troubling stories emerged. Reports of parties, substance abuse, and violent fights painted a toxic picture. Even Bobbi Brown publicly voiced concerns, but Bobbi Kristina refused to let go. Then, in a cruel twist of fate, history repeated itself. January 31st, 2015. Bobbi Kristina was found face down in a bathtub, eerily mirroring her mother's death. The world watched in disbelief as she remained in a coma for months before passing away that July. The parallels were impossible to ignore. Same circumstances, same tragic ending. Was it a cruel coincidence? Or was Bobbi Kristina's fate sealed the moment Whitney died? Authorities ruled Whitney's death as accidental drowning with contributing factors of substance use, but conspiracy theorists weren't convinced. When Bobbi Kristina died under nearly identical circumstances, suspicions skyrocketed. Did she uncover dangerous secrets about her mother's death? Was someone trying to silence her before she could speak out? Even Bobbi Brown hinted at a cover-up, pointing the finger at Nick Gordon. In the years following his daughter's death, Bobbi Brown has spoken cryptically but passionately about what he believes really happened. While legal proceedings failed to produce criminal charges, a civil lawsuit found Nick Gordon legally responsible for Bobbi Kristina's wrongful death. Nick's own life spiraled out of control afterward, marred by substance issues and further allegations of abuse. In 2020, he too died, never revealing whatever secrets he may have held. But Bobbi Brown believes the truth is still out there. Even with multiple investigations, many questions remain unanswered. Could two nearly identical tragedies be purely accidental? Or is there something much darker beneath the surface? Some believe powerful figures in Hollywood wanted Whitney silenced, and when Bobbi Kristina got too close to the truth, she was next. Others see this as a devastating cycle of generational trauma, addiction, and toxic relationships. In the months leading up to Bobbi Kristina's tragic final moments, those closest to her noticed a shift in her behavior, something that hinted at a deeper struggle. She began speaking cryptically, hinting that she was ready to speak her truth, and that she knew things about her mother's final days that didn't add up. Some reports suggest she planned to write a tell-all book, one that could have exposed shocking industry secrets and shed new light on Whitney's passing. But if that was true, why did she never get the chance? Some believe she confided in the wrong people, that whispers of her revelations reached the ears of those who couldn't afford for the truth to come out, and that, just like Whitney, she was silenced before she could talk. But what exactly did Bobbi Kristina know? And more importantly, who didn't want her to say it? To fully grasp the mystery of Bobbi Kristina's demise, we have to go back to Whitney Houston's final hours. On the night of February 11th, 2012, Whitney was found submerged in the bathtub of her Beverly Hills hotel room just hours before she was scheduled to attend a Grammy party thrown by Clive Davis. The official cause of death was ruled as accidental drowning, with contributing factors of heart disease and substance use. But something didn't sit right with investigators. Witnesses recall strange behavior from those close to Whitney that night. Objects in the room were reportedly moved before authorities arrived. Some claim key witnesses changed their stories, leading to speculation that someone tampered with the scene before police could investigate. And then, there's the biggest mystery of all. Why was Clive Davis's party still held just floors below Whitney's body, even after news of her death had spread? Instead of canceling the event, the show went on. Celebrities mingled, music played, and industry elites toasted champagne, all while Whitney's body remained lifeless just a few floors above. For many, this was the most disturbing red flag of all. Was Whitney's passing a tragic accident? Or was her death pre-planned, with the Grammy party serving as a distraction to ensure that no one asked too many questions? And if Bobbi Kristina knew something about that night, was she in danger the moment she started talking? The eerie similarities between their deaths don't stop at the bathtub connection. Both Whitney and Bobbi Kristina were reportedly surrounded by the same circle of people in their final days. Many of those individuals benefited from their fame, wealth, and estate, yet never provided clear answers about what truly happened. One of the most chilling details: Bobbi Kristina herself reportedly had a meltdown the night before Whitney's death. According to multiple accounts, she was forcibly removed from the Beverly Hilton Hotel after trying to get into her mother's room. Security was called and she was escorted out, but no one knows for sure what she saw or why she was so desperate to get inside. Could she have walked in on something she wasn't supposed to see? Some believe she may have overheard something about her mother's final moments, something that put her own life at risk 3 years later. Was Bobbi Kristina a loose end that needed to be tied up? Then there's Nick Gordon, the one person present in both Whitney's and Bobbi Kristina's lives at the time of their deaths. Nick was reportedly one of the last people to see Whitney alive. He was with Bobbi Kristina in the hours before she was found unresponsive, and after her passing, he became the prime suspect in the eyes of her family. Multiple reports describe their relationship as controlling, toxic, and even violent. Friends of Bobbi Kristina later revealed that Nick allegedly isolated her from loved ones, controlled her finances, and had a history of aggressive behavior. When Bobbi Kristina was discovered unconscious in the bathtub, bruises were found on her body, raising disturbing questions about what really happened that night. Though Nick Gordon was never criminally charged, a civil lawsuit found him legally responsible for her death, ordering him to pay millions in damages. Then, just a few years later, Nick Gordon was dead. Found unresponsive in 2020 from an apparent overdose, he never fully answered for the allegations against him. With his death, the last person who may have known the real story was gone. Either way, the eerie similarities between Whitney and Bobbi Kristina's deaths haunt us to this day. Was it fate, foul play, or something the world was never meant to know? The shadows still hold their secrets. Whitney Houston's legacy is untouchable. Her music still moves millions, but the tragic ending of her life and her daughters raises unsettling questions. Whether you believe in conspiracies, hidden Hollywood agendas, or simply the tragic cycles of fame and addiction, one thing is certain: the world lost two bright lights far too soon. What do you think really happened? Let's talk in the comments.